576-497-7. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there we go. We're off and we're running. There it is, our Monday edition of Talking Ball. We are underway, 7 o'clock on a Monday. Hey, it's June 26th as we turn the calendar on a new week. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program throughout the morning. And we start you off. We got a lot of stuff to get to. College basketball, college baseball, all kinds of interesting stuff. Some college football news and notes. Plenty to touch on. But if you go back on the calendar, Drew, June 1st, Javon Quinterly says he is coming back on a post on social media. And you are cruising around on June 25th. And you see the announcement that he is headed into the transfer portal, a graduate transfer, albeit, but seems a little late. I don't know about the timing, but Javon Quinterly putting his name in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he's putting his name in the portal. The rumor had been out there before he announced he was coming back. Shortly before, and he had a workout with the Milwaukee Bucks, and there was some thought that he might go into the transfer portal. I think it was a back and forth decision for him, obviously, and it caught some people off guard. It was certainly surprising last night. I don't think it caught the coaching staff completely off guard. I think they were frustrated by it. Is a term I would use, but I think they've already moved on. They know he's going to grad transfer and go on to his next stop because, for one, he's never going to play a minute in the NBA. I mean, that's why he's still in college. If he was, he would have been gone 2 years ago.
Right.
And he explored all of his options, and I don't blame him. Each and every year, he looked at the pro option. Would have looked at it last year, but he tore his ACL, so he had to come back from that. I think, honestly, he was ready to move on, before that season. And if he had had a good run in the NCAA tournament, I think he would have moved on. But he decided to come back because of the ACL. And I think it was a wise move. And, I think basically he helped Alabama recruit Aaron Estrada from Hofstra, who is in theory going to replace him. The one thing I think when you look at Alabama's roster, it's so guard heavy. I don't think he was guaranteed to start this season.
And remember, he was coming off the bench until the SEC and the NCAA tournament. Then he was inserted back into the lineup.
Right, and he did a lot of his best work 2 years ago as the sixth man, and was the sixth man of the year in the SEC and was the MVP of the SEC tournament. And he did some good work this year off the bench, and that may have been his best role with this team, depending upon it. I mean, he could have started, but he also could have been a bench guy. But I will say I don't think he would have played as many minutes as he's going to play at his next stop because, again, Alabama's got a lot of guards. And when you look at their roster, and I was kind of breaking it down last night, I think that's probably what went through his thought process. And Alabama paid him 6 digits in NIL last year, from what I understand, and they were certainly going to pay this year. But he's probably got a bigger offer from another school through a third party, and it's his last go.
Yeah.
And and even with a big year this year, he's going to be 25 years old. I don't expect him to be drafted, so he'll get a nice payday, and then probably do what I've always thought he was going to do, and that's play overseas. And playing overseas, you can still make really good money if you get in the right situation. But I don't really have a problem, with him moving on. I wished he had made the decision sooner, and I agree with Jeff Goodman. I think
that's the greater issue is the timing of this and the timing in college basketball. Is this something that they need to fix?
Well, they need to have uniformity. I think they need to have uniformity for the transfer portal for both kids that are transferring the one time, or guys like Hugh who have their degree. I mean, just let the coaches know once you finish your degree you're moving on, so they know. And you could tell. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of acrimony here. You could tell with JQ's statement, it was something that he agonized over, but he was just following his heart, and I think he knew that he could go somewhere else and play heavier minutes and in an even bigger role, and so more power to him. And again, I've always said this: if you have your degree in hand, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
I mean,
it's just the timing.
There's still time to get players. There's players everywhere. Because guess what, Scott?
Well, that's right.
If Javon Quinterly graduated and can move on, there's going to be others that now can graduate and move on. And Jeff Goodman made a great point. He said, it's a joke the way the rules are set up, but I can guarantee you this, there's going to be a guy who's about to graduate. He's going to go on a tour with his team in August. He's not going to like how many minutes he got overseas. He's going to come back and he's going to graduate, transfer somewhere else. So if somebody can tamper with Alabama's players, Alabama can tamper with theirs, and they shouldn't give a damn because that's the way it is right now. And
you think this was tampering?
Scott, come on. So, I mean, I'm just saying it's rampant throughout the entire sport.
I know.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. The NC double dip wads won't put up any guardrails. They're just cashing checks from the NCAA tournament. So if somebody does it to you, you do it to them. That's the way it is.
No, I mean with what close to what did we say? Over 20-some hundred kids in the transfer portal for college basketball. I mean, there's.
You know, Nate Oates is on top of it because, and admits he's told the fans this, he's told media this. You better understand that you're going to have a new team every year, man. You've got to re-recruit your current players that you want to keep, and then and several are going to either move on to the NBA or they're going to be guys transferring. So you're going to have a new squad nearly every year, or at least 3/4 of a new squad. That's just the way that right now, until there's guardrails of this stuff, that's the way it's going to be. And, I mean, and you're going to just have to accept it. I'll be honest with you. I love Javon Quinterly and what he did, and he did a hell of a job. I enjoyed watching him for the 4 years he was at Alabama. I remember he was there 4 because he sat out a year because
well, I mean, he helped win 4 SEC championships and a torn ACL.
Yeah, 2 tournaments, 2 regular season titles. He did his job. But I think the biggest loss of the offseason still is Charles Bediako.
Okay.
Because I think Alabama's got enough depth in the backcourt to still be really good. You hate to lose Javon Quinterly, but, again, it's his choice, and he did the job in the classroom to earn it. But Charles Bediako is hard to replace because they don't have a 7-foot rim protector like him. And I think he would have been very wise to come back. I'm not sure that he made the wise decision and listened to the right people because he went undrafted. And he had not even used a transfer. So I think he should have stayed put. I think he was a really good fit for Nate Oates' system. And certainly that loss hurts. And Quinterly hurts too. But, again, when you look at the roster and who they've recruited out of the portal and who they've and who they brought back, and they brought back several guards as well, it's just the way it is. But that's 2 guys now out of the 6 that they wanted to keep, Charles Bediako and certainly Javon Quinterly, that they've lost. And they certainly pivoted and got Jaron Stevenson, and I believe they're going to get Grant Nelson because Ernest T. Bass, a.k.a. Eric Musselman, they filled their last spot with a kid from Memphis. So I don't think they have a spot right now. And so they were a team heavily in the mix for Nelson. From what all I'm hearing, Nelson is still supposed to be there in mid-July, and same way with Jaron Stevenson. So Alabama's now still got a couple spots, and I think they've already pivoted and moved on, and I think they're recruiting, and I don't think they're done building their roster.
Part of a statement that Javon Quinterly put out yesterday on social media says, quote, in quote, "Part of my journey is taking risk and following my heart. Sometimes as time goes on, we know it's time to move on, take risks, and follow my heart. But this is truly a bittersweet moment for me. In my time here, we have set records together, won championships together, and we have made program history together. Thank you, Bama Nation, forever, for everything. Javon Quinterly," unquote. So part of this statement that he put out there on social media yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, at the guard spot, they've still got Mark Sears from our area coming back. They've got Rylan Griffin, who played a prominent role off the bench last year, and I think his role is going to expand. You've got Aaron Estrada, who I just mentioned, who they got out of the portal from Hofstra. You've got the redshirt Davin Cosby, who was working and came in January last year. Then you've got the shooter from Cal State Fullerton, Latrell Wrightsell. And don't forget Chris Parker, who's another signee. He's 6'8", but he's basically a guard. I mean, he's a guy with a lot of perimeter skill that can play multiple positions, but they believe he's a guard. So he's got to gain weight. He's got to get stronger. And again, like I've said, I don't think Alabama is done here. The second summer term doesn't start until July, and they're going to be hitting the transfer portal hard. And, they did lose Charles Bediako and get Jaron Stevenson, but I don't think they're done, perhaps even adding bigs either. So I think Alabama still wants to add a couple pieces if possible. It's going to be interesting to see how they approach it, but I definitely think they're working it hard, and you have to be aware of things like this. And I think everybody knew that JQ was going to be graduating, and he could have easily come back to Bama, but he's been working out with the squad. He hasn't been away from them, but it's just one of those things. I guess he just made up his mind, and through third parties, I'm sure that he has gotten some promises or offers, and a couple of schools to watch. One would be in his backyard, which would make a lot of sense. He'd be going home because he's from Jersey. But St. John's with Coach Rick Pitino, because he basically had to start. I mean, not from total scratch, but didn't have a lot of guys coming back from Mike Anderson. And then another one to watch is Memphis and Penny Hardaway. They seem to need a point guard, but I mean, but basically, I'll just warn Javon Clearly, he'll be coaching himself.
Yes, if he goes to Memphis, literally for the first 3 games or 4 games, because Penny Hardaway's been suspended, but. I've said this, Penny Hardaway is an AAU coach, not a college basketball coach.
Well, I mean, he's gotten to the NCAA tournament. We understand that, and he's a good recruiter, but I think the coaching acumen is,
loosely used.
Yeah, I'd say that. No offense, but I mean,
Oh, I tell you what, I know we got Jeff in the Borough holding, but let's get our first break in. When we come back, we will get to Jeff, plus what a day in Omaha. What a day in Omaha.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
No one knows your Ford better than our factory-trained, certified technicians, and that's a fact. Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, letting you know about a one-time service promotion good through June 30th only. Starting at just $79.95 when you get the Works package for your vehicle. You buy the first one, the second one is on us. The Works package includes a synthetic blend oil change, tire rotation, vehicle checkup, and more. You buy the first one, the next one is on us, but only through June 30th. Schedule online today and come in to Woody Anderson Ford.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do afterpaint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Zone Indoor Cycling is this week's Zone deal. Get a $100 certificate for just $50. Get yours now at 977ESPN.com. $2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I screw up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, I'll tell you a fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We're going to get to the College World Series here in just a second. But let's go on to the phone lines real fast. Jeff from the Borough with us on a Monday. Morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
Well, what about LSU for a little probation? No penalties, though, because they can still go to the postseason, still playing bowl games, and still in the NCAA tournament. I don't know why the NCAA can't put, like for football, if they're on 3 years probation, 3 years of no bowls, or 3 years of no NCAA tournament. But I guess they don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to punish schools, I guess. But and also, what's funny is Les Miles they had to vacate all those wins. Now Les Miles is eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame as the coach. You know that, right?
Yeah, we talked about it last week, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a toothless penalty. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
And Will Wade got that show called. I'm sure. I mean, D State's gonna get a big penalty for hiring him. I mean, he's already got a 10-game suspension over, so I'm sure he's gonna really get a huge penalty from them to to stay coach there. But yeah, it's toothless. I mean, I don't know why they can't do that. And that's what I would do, or 5 years or something to put, because that's where you hurt the school. You don't hurt the school by taking away scholarships. That don't hurt a school, because they can always make it up the next recruiting class or two. They can always do that. So I mean, taking away that don't do nothing.
I mean, it does. I mean, look at Miami back in the day. It hurt Miami back in the day. It has hurt some schools.
I mean, some schools, but you can make it up in 2 or 3. You can make that up and get guys. You don't. I mean, that don't hurt you as bad as not going to the postseason and losing that money. And then,
I mean, does it though? I mean, because think about it. If you don't get the money going into the SEC, I mean, if you don't go to a bowl game, you're still getting your SEC revenue sharing. You're just not getting.
But what I do is, if you don't go to a bowl game, you don't get no revenue sharing. You get zero. You don't get none. Other schools you don't get none. And if you don't go to the NCAA tournament, then you don't. If you're on probation and you get banned from the probation, you don't get no money from the SEC. That's what I put the teeth in it. You don't get none. The other schools get it. You got to put teeth in these rules, or they're going to keep cheating. Because it don't really matter now with the NIL, but still, that's what you've got to do. Because if you don't do it, and they're going to keep on doing it and keep on until they think they can. They think they can't get away with it. But now what's funny is that he's not eligible because you have to have a 60% winning percentage, and you have to coach 100 games at least for the College Football Hall of Fame to get in and stuff. But and everything, and I don't know what's going to happen now with the College World Series. I don't know if it's going to be a low-scoring game or what. I mean, I couldn't believe Florida scored that many runs. I turned it off at 15. When it was 15-3. And I turned it back over. They were still playing. I couldn't believe they still playing. I said, "What in the world?" It was unbelievable. I don't know, but it'll be crazy tonight. I guess to see who's going to win it. I know Skeens is going pro, so I guess it's everybody tonight. So you might as well. It's the last game of the year, so. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But enjoy the show, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, let's pivot to the College World Series. So let's start it off on Saturday. Continues to what has been a trend in the College World Series, a one-run game. Remember, we said on Saturday that the record for one-run games in the College World Series was 8. And if LSU and Florida each had a one-run game in the championship series, 3 games, it would break the record. Well, Saturday it lived up to the billing. The 7th one-run game of the College World Series. LSU wins it 4-3. in 11 innings. I mean, what a fantastic game. We're thinking Sunday we're going to get more of the same. We're building up to this, the crescendo. Boy, oh boy, did we not get a one-run game. We get a 24-4 Florida win, 6 home runs, record-tying 23 hits, the 24 runs, the most in a single Men's College World Series game, the 20-run deficit, the most lopsided win since Notre Dame in Northern Colorado in 1957.
Interesting. It was a little bit of a surprise, but it was kind of like the dam breaking. Eventually, you were gonna have a game like that where I thought a team jumped on another one, and LSU's pitching staff, sans Paul Skeens, had really stepped up in the postseason until yesterday, and they kind of reverted back to some of the struggles they had in the regular season. But Florida has a great lineup, and another thing, Florida's middle of their lineup, and that's Langford and also Caglione and of course BT Riopel, those guys. And even Rivera, they had been struggling a little bit in the World Series up until yesterday, and and really Shellnut and some guys in the bottom of the lineup had been the ones that had provided a little bit of the thunder, but great hitters are eventually going to bust out, and that's what happened yesterday. Florida got some big hits, and the Grand Slam being the biggest, and they were able to get out to a 7-3 lead. They expanded it to 8-3, and really it just became non-competitive after that. I mean, LSU was still competing. It's just one of those things where
they had turned their attention to Game 3.
Well, I mean, to a degree, but I just think overall they had some opportunities. When it was 7-3, they loaded the bases, but they didn't get anything out of it. They never got the big hit yesterday. In Game 1, when they didn't get the big hit early, and I think they ended up leaving 13 guys on, it still was a close game throughout. Florida wasn't able to separate, and so once Florida was able to separate yesterday, and I think once they got the big Grand Slam, I think, honestly, that's what kind of settled everybody down. And like I said, the middle of that lineup. I mean, don't forget, though, when you look at it, Florida was inches away from winning the game on Saturday, which would have ended up being a sweep. But great play by Pearson in left on that leaping catch. And then LSU won it, and was able to get Game 1. Because if that doesn't happen, then it changes the field totally. So it's one of those things where LSU knew, look, man, they're trying to sweep it. They're trying to win a national championship. But once the game got away from them, you got another game to play. You're trying to, save all your high leverage arms for that game. But again, it's just one of those things where Wyatt Langford, he ends up 5 for 5, and it's kind of like when I was watching, Money Mike for the Braves, earlier this year, and he had been in some kind of awful slump. I think his batting average had dipped below 160. Then Keith Hernandez, the Mutt broadcaster and former great first baseman, made a comment that Harris was definitely in a sophomore slump and he wasn't very good and stuff like that. And thank goodness he said it, because as soon as he flapped his gums, Money Mike, and you saw it, because Mike was just like Wyatt Langford at the end of Saturday's game when he lined out there and the left fielder made a great play. That was a kind of foreshadowing, because he was 5 for 5 yesterday.
Right.
He started hitting the ball where they weren't. He hit one out 450 feet. Money Mike's average is now, I checked it yesterday after they beat the Reds, it's almost risen 100 points. It's up to like 250, which means it was in the 160s. And the Mets, I think, lost again. So
they did.
Headline central there.
Saturday, uncharacteristically, the Gators struck out a season high at the plate.
20 times.
20 times. Yesterday, LSU, uncharacteristically, a season high 5 errors that led to 6 runs for the Gators yesterday. So really, Saturday, Florida does some things that they normally don't do. Yesterday, LSU did some things out in the field they normally don't do. Today, though, we mentioned Paul Skeens. He's available. We don't know for how much. We don't know for how long.
Right.
Because, think about this, since the World Series has started, Paul Skeens, by the way, has thrown 243 pitches in a week.
Yeah, he threw 120 plus in both starts.
Yeah, so 243.
Right.
All right. I tell you what, let's get out to the phone lines. We got Lewis with us first. Good morning, Lewis.
Morning, Lewis.
Good morning.
Morning.
Man, I was just going to say what in the world happened, but y'all just explained it.
Yeah, it just was an implosion, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida got hot, and it's one of those things in baseball. But and see, that's the cool part about them going to the 2 out of 3 finals, because in the past, it could have been a classic championship game, the 4-3 game, or it could have been a snoozer like that where everything falls apart. But you got another game, and I still think it's the 2 best teams, so it should be a heck of a matchup. And glad that it didn't end on something like that. So
I'm glad it ended. I'm glad that game ended the way it did, even though we got dragged through the mud.
Right, right.
It gives them a reason to come out today and put on the show.
Yeah, and at the end,
broken a lot of records, but
at the end, and LSU said this in their post game, it's just one game.
No, one game, yeah.
It's just one game. It didn't. I mean, yeah, they could have swept it yesterday. Could have got the title yesterday.
Yeah.
But at the end, they're going to go to the Diamond today, and they still have a shot to win the national championship. So, I mean, mindset from LSU is one game. Florida, same thing.
You're just hoping to stay hot if you're Florida.
Is the word implosion? Is it still too early?
I mean, no, you can for one game. I mean, like I said, Ty Evans for Florida, he's got, I want to say he's tied the record for home runs in a series by one guy. He's got 5, and he had 2 yesterday. And both of them they looked like they were both going to go foul. He hit them so high, but they stayed fair. One tied the game at 1, and then the other one put them into a 7-3 lead. And once LSU kind of lost that lead, and it's really the first time, because LSU's other loss was a 3-2 loss. That was the first deficit they faced. I mean, a big deficit, and it just sort of snowballed on them. So, but again, everybody's 0-0 today.
They needed it. They needed a wake-up call, honestly, because I've been keeping up with it, and it's been a snooze for me, honestly. I don't know if it's just because it's baseball, but it has been a snooze. To say it's the World Championship, it's been a snooze. It's been one have you on your seat, because Wake Forest, almost got away with it. But it's just been a snooze, and so I'm ready to see what they do today, because hopefully they get on it and get out there.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because Caglione, I don't know if they've announced if he's going to start for Florida. He has not thrown that well. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if they go with Caglione or who, it's going to be, I think both of them, in effect, Scott, are going to be bullpen games, but you're just going to line up your best arms and be like, okay, if you can get 2 or 3 innings out of this guy, go to this guy. It's going to be interesting because that's the way it is in college.
It's all hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck.
Everybody,
except for like Sproat and of course, and I don't really think and there's another guy or two. That Florida I don't think will throw, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's a couple on each side. All right, Lewis, thanks for the phone call, bud.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go to Bama Bino this morning. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Hurston Waldrop won't throw either.
Good morning, guys. How are we doing this morning?
Doing
good. Morning,
good.
Bama Bino.
I'm not going to get on LSU too hard. They traditional program, and I guess anybody's listening knows that I'm Bama all the way. But my second team is LSU because I've worked down there back and forth so many years, lived down there. They were good to me, and I just love the culture and the band, the fanfare, and they're just really friendly people, and I'm pulling for them. I think the catalyst, it was that bobble. When you're
talking about it's shortstop by Thompson.
Well, the third baseman. The shortstop. It
would have been a double play and got him out of the inning, and then they wouldn't have faced the grand slam. I thought that was the turning point.
When in doubt, that runner got out of the box too quick. He couldn't. I don't know if he could have or not. But the thing is, you always get your lead runner. I was taught that from Little League on. If you're was struggling, and when in doubt, get the lead runner. So that would have been an out right there. And I think that they could have got their way out of that. But I think he got frustrated. These are young guys, and that's a big stage, and bless their heart, they just got pummeled. But I think that overall, Skeens is going to change the dynamics here. Don't know if he can pick 7 innings like he did the other night, but if he can just get somebody to come in and help him and get very low hit numbers, and I'm pulling for him. But great show, guys. We're proud to have you on Sign Mountain. You're sounding good, and I love you.
Thanks, Bambino.
Yep.
Let's get a break in. I know we got Brandon home. We'll get to him after the break. And if you're LSU, do you start Paul Skeens, and do you get what you can out of him?
I personally would try to get 4 or 5 innings out of him, but that's just me.
We'll see.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday. Highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com. These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If your home needs updating or you have some projects that you just haven't gotten to, Eagle can help. They install shower doors, mirrors, shelving, blinds, bath hardware, and lots more. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Get your ticket to greatness.
Attention all high school boys and girls basketball players. Ticket to Greatness and Grind Nation have partnered together to bring you the Grind to Greatness High School Recruitment Combine. All athletes will have a chance to showcase their basketball skills directly in front of college coaches. This combine is an NCAA certified event. The boys combine is July 15th and 16th. The girls combine July 22nd and 23rd at Sparkman High School on Jeff Road in Harvest. Register now at Grind, the number 2, greatnesscombine.com.
The Atlanta Braves are rolling, and this loaded roster's on a mission to bring home their 6th straight division crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to left center field. Go ball. Back to the wall. Jokes. That ball is gone. Home run, Ozzie.
Tonight, the Braves are back in town, and Truist Park is open for business as Sean Murphy and the Braves take on the Minnesota Twins. Braves Radio goes on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Haven't picked up anything new accident-wise. Had a couple working, one on University west of Pulaski Pike, one on 565 westbound near Research Park. Both should be pretty well cleared by now. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Before the break, we asked the question, if you're LSU, do you pitch Paul Skeens tonight? Do you pitch him early or do you pitch him late? If he says, Coach, I can give you 4 innings, do you take the first 4 or the last 4?
Man, I'd want to get off to a good start. Now, there's always a chance people will say, well, what if he's a little off today? Well, he could be off and coming out of the bullpen too, but what's he done all year? He started. He hasn't been a reliever. So to me, I would try to, on the front end of the game, to get 12 to 15 outs. And if he can be reasonable with his pitch count, then I would try to get the lead and by the 4th or the 5th inning get him out of there. But again, I would start him because that's what he's done all year. And look, man, in the major leagues, there's going to be playoff situations if he goes to an organization that eventually reaches there, Scott.
Yep.
Where like Strasburg, for example, you're going to have to pitch on 3 days rest. Now, Steven has had arm trouble. Skeens will probably eventually have it too, because guess what? Knock on wood if you haven't had arm trouble in the major leagues. Whatever. Guys like John Smoltz had, Tommy John. I mean, there's just so many guys have had it. And so, and then you got Ian Anderson right now with the Braves. It's just become so commonplace to have to come back. I think Max Fried's already come back from it early in his career. It's just one of those things where you're eventually going to have arm problems. But I'm not saying Skeens is going to. He's been remarkably durable at LSU this year. And so, to me, you brought him in for this. You brought him in to win the national championship. Him and the other portal guys that they brought in, like Tommy Tanks, Tommy White. So to me, you got to have all hands on deck, and I would go with Skeens to start today.
Let's go with Brandon on the phone lines. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
Good morning. I wanted to ask a little bit. Jaron Stevenson is going to reclass.
Yeah, he is.
And at 6'10", 200, do you really feel like he's good to go next year?
Not
or
yet.
Do you think
No, I mean, to me, he's probably at least going to have to play 2 years of college. I know some have said he wants to be a one and done, but he should be a senior in high school. He's got to get in the weight room. I think he's talented. But again, we have to wait and see, because I wasn't sure how good Clowney was going to be, and he was much better than everybody thought, even though he hit the freshman wall some too. He's only 18 going into the NBA. But he's got a lot of long-term potential. But if you had to ask me, I haven't seen Jaron practice in college yet, but I would say a 2-year guy. But, again, we'll see. And that's why I also don't think Alabama's done with their roster, because there's still guys out there. And just like Q, graduating this summer and deciding to move on, there could be others as well, because it's kind of like a domino effect. One guy leaves, and that opens a spot at another school. It's just one of those things where you always kind of got to have your head on a swivel. And until classes start in August, you kind of have to continue to build your roster, because things are always I'll use one of those terms that I hate, fluid. But
right.
That's the way it is right now, and especially in college basketball with all the movement and things of that nature.
Well, do we know who our token white guy is going to be that signals that the starters are done for the day? Any outlook on that?
To be honest with you, Adam Cottrell moved on. I know the young man Kai Spears, who was erroneously accused by the New York Stupid of being in the car and who was getting their asses sued, and I hope they have to pay every dime, and I don't blame his family for suing those clowns. Then he should be returning. But again, even walk-ons don't have to return. Like Javon Quinley-Jaden, his brother, I don't think he's returning. He's trying to find a smaller school where he can play. So, again, we'll see. But, like I said, Spears, he was on the team last year. He's got eligibility left, and, we'll see if he returns. But I know right now I think his dad is the athletic director at Marshall, and they are suing the New York Times, and I would sue their asses. There's no doubt in my mind I would, because they had no qualms about accusing him of being somewhere he wasn't. And if you do something that recklessly, I think you should be sued, and I think you should have to pay the piper. Because, and again, we're members of the media here, but journalism has really taken a dive with some of the garbage you see out there that's completely untrue, and guys just trying to get clicks. Joseph Goodman. But anyway, that's the way it is.
Trying to get clicks. I will say somebody that did something for clicks when Cole Kubelik asked, what do you think about Josh Payton?
Yeah, they're just messing with each other, man. Yeah, that's funny.
That's some good comments on there about people not disrespecting Meemaw. That was a good laugh out loud.
He brings up Meemaw a lot. He's even brought up Meemaw on this show. So, and like you said, you discovered him on this show.
Yeah. I love people when they keep it real. The guy said the other day, I was just evicted 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Most people in sports are not going to tell you sometimes that, most of the glory they have is behind the microphone that's not with the paycheck.
Yeah.
And I love it when people tell the kind of truth that is, because, he exists to have a good time and keep it real, just like you guys do. And that's what's fun. When you have the people on the radio and on TV that are so much better than you, that they don't want nothing to do with you, they're smarter than you, and you'll never live up to their expectation. Those are the people, to me, that I wonder how they stay in business.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, there's a few of them. ESPN has a few of those.
Yeah, they do. Some of them are getting fired.
Surely not.
They are.
And they also voted for Joe, too.
Have they got any left? I mean, who at the company at this point has not been fired?
I don't know.
In this business, so you're going to get fired at least once.
Right.
Well, just letting you know, Drew, the seats at Whiskey Joe's will be warm for us if you make it. I tried to get QB Country to show up down there. I think he's kind of on more on our side of the fence now.
Yeah.
So
this is in Tampa, by the way, Scott, just for FYI.
Are you going to Tampa?
Well, I'm thinking about it.
When?
This is for Alabama. They play in Tampa this year against South
Florida.
Yeah. So Brandon's rolling out the red carpet.
All right.
I was about to say, if I need to get the Chrysler Pacifica instead of the Corolla, let me know.
All right, you in Tampa.
Yeah, if I can get a credential, we'll see about that.
You can fly Breeze Airways pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I say bring good old Chad Glossney with you, and he might come back with a Mrs.
Well, let's just put it this way. I don't think.
Hey, look, we got Chad in. So here's the story. Bailey texted us last night.
Oh, yeah. Perry Mason. Somebody come up with Perry Mason. Or Matlock.
Bailey got called into jury duty this morning.
Yeah, he got called into jury duty.
Would you trust Bailey on your jury?
Oh, Lord. I mean,
hell no.
Woo. Maybe if it was about a video game.
So now we have Chad with us this morning.
Like a lawsuit or something,
believe, right?
He could break that down.
He'll be back tomorrow?
Yeah, I think he'll be back tomorrow unless,
unless he gets chosen. Wrong. Unless he gets chosen, like,
or is it a long case, or what?
I don't know what it is. He hasn't told me.
It's probably when I got called like 20-something years ago, and I took one day off of work, and I basically got dismissed like that. They ask you questions, it's
right?
Like, bam! I was like during the first morning session, I was dismissed, and of course I still probably could have gone to work, and I was like, to hell with that, I'm taking the day off. So I took the day off. They had already given me the day off for jury duty, so I was dismissed early from the pool. So. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if the crime involves video games and at any point somebody's talking about they were playing this game at this time, they're screwed because he will know that they are a liar.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I don't know. If my
Street Fighter or Call of Duty related.
Yeah.
If my fate rested in Bailey, I'm screwed. I'm
squirrel,
All right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call, bud. Let's get one more in here before the break. Ray's with us this morning. Good morning, Ray.
Good Lord, Bailey's on jury duty.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's up, Ray? Yeah, I mean, we love Bailey, but I mean,
Yes,
he texted us yesterday out of the blue, and he just said, "Hey, man, Chad's sitting in for me. I got called for jury duty."
I'm like, oh,
I'm like,
boy.
wow,
First of all, unless something has changed since I did it,
Yeah.
you don't just get a phone call Sunday night, hey, be here Monday morning.
He probably
That's not
forgot.
how that works.
He probably forgot,
Oh.
honestly. Because they do send you. Ray's right. They send you like a letter or whatever saying.
Well, he
you got
told
chosen.
me. I mean, I knew.
So, but how many days ago was that?
Wait. Did he tell me Friday, Saturday?
Oh, so he just forgot to tell the two people that he works with every
There's a
day.
difference. The
Okay.
guy that they needed to tell.
That's why I'm like, my faith in Bailey.
I'll just show up and you'll be like, all right.
That's what we were saying.
That's why my faith in Bailey is 0.
Go ahead, Ray. You were saying,
Second of
sir.
all, is this just basic jury duty at the Madison County Courthouse?
We don't know that
Chad,
either.
I don't know. Do you know?
I think so. I don't know what it is.
Because for
Because
all
you've
we
been
know,
in?
Yeah. Go ahead.
He's upstairs on like the 9th floor, hanging out.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Ray? He said he was upstairs on the 9th. Oh, we're matlocking.
There we go. This is Bailey walking into the courthouse this morning.
Of course, I think Ray hit a cell there, but he was saying he would be on the 9th floor,
Yeah.
I mean, again, it was a pretty quick process when you're I was part of the pool, the request. And when you're summoned, you're supposed to go. And so I certainly went and then was quickly told that I wasn't going to be a part of whatever. I don't even know what the hell the case was. Never got that far, but they didn't choose me. They told me I was good to go. And so because now I just for example, a guest on our show, I texted him the other day that he's been a frequent guest, Jason Caldwell. He had jury duty for a week, so I guess he was part of it. Uh-oh, this is Perry. Dun, dun.
Yeah. Just wait another couple hours. It'll be on that TV in a little bit.
Here we go.
Perry Mason?
Dun, dun.
No, it's usually on the weekends.
Okay.
There it is. See, the only thing is, though, Bailey would not know who the hell Matlock or Perry Mason was.
He would know Matlock. We got to.
Well, that's only because we told him about Matlock.
Right. He would have no clue who Perry Mason is.
Not at all.
We got to get a break in when we come back. Oh, Bailey. Get a coffee.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, letting you know we are proud supporters of Crimson Tide football. Stop in the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com for all our great offers. And get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Roll Tide!
Hey, Bob Baumhauer here. Baseball's in full swing and it's batters up for Baumhauer's Step Up to the Plate menu. Some of our great ballpark selections include the all-new Conecuh Sausage Dog with Curly Q fries and Wickles Pickles for only $7.99. Other specials include our All-American Triple Plate Cheeseburger, Chicken Club Wrap, and many more traditional ballpark favorites, including free popcorn. Strike out your thirst with $7.99 Yuengling pitchers all day long, 7 days a week. Hit a home run with Baumhauer's Step Up to the Plate menu.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Since 1998, Scooter's Coffee has delivered high-quality drinks with quick service and a big smile. And the folks at Scooter's Coffee know a great cup of coffee or other drink can bring a smile to just about anyone. Yes, we specialize in great coffee, but Scooter's also has smoothies, teas, and delicious food items, too. And this week, Scooter's is our zone deal. Right now, get $50 worth of Scooter's in Huntsville for just $25 online at 977ESPN.com.
Haven't picked up anything new accident-wise. Had a couple working, one on University west of Pulaski Pike, one on 565 westbound near Research Park. Both should be pretty well cleared by now. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Brett Drinkard on Facebook telling us that Bailey's fired again. Probably had to watch Law & Order or Matlock to take notes on being a juror.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I haven't been summoned in a while, but, you know.
I have never.
Really?
No.
Chad, have you ever been summoned? You'll hit the right
Never
button,
once.
I know. Okay, never once. You've never been summoned either.
Nope.
I got summoned once. That was the only time 20-some years ago that I got, or about 20 or so, I got summoned, and I got a letter in the mail. I was like, what in the blue blazes is this? And my parents were like, well, you got summoned for jury duty. So I knew what date I had to show up.
Problem is, I know several of the judges, so I'd go in there and it would be it'd be kind of hard. I don't know. And then, well, when you're on the TV side as well, they really don't like bringing you in because you're reporting on a lot. Not physically, not in the sports side, but in the building, you're talking a lot about a lot of the stuff that's going on.
And so they think it's going to compromise the theme.
Preconceived notions of a lot of things that are happening within that courthouse.
Right. Well, you tried to give Bailey some advice. You told him to tell him that you're in the radio business.
I told him. Trying to get, not that I'm trying to
get him dismissed.
Get him out of it. I'm just wanting him back here for the show. Not that we don't love having Chad.
He may want to go get coffee every day. Who knows? I don't know.
You'd have to find the coffee first.
Well, I'm sure there's coffee over there. He could stop and pick up some coffee on the way. I don't know. If he's chosen, I don't know if they're going to be sequestered or anything. We'll see, I don't know what kind of case this is.
Now I'm thinking of, what is it? Pauly Shore.
Oh, Jury Duty.
Jury Duty.
Uh-oh.
One of the worst movies.
Never saw that Pauly Shore, dude. But I've saw some of his other stuff, but I never saw Jury Duty. But I remember it. But yeah, I can just imagine, don't wheeze the juice on Jury Duty. Pauly.
256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. We want you to be a part of the show on this Monday morning. Had to remember. Well, it's Monday. We're not at Bill Penny. So
no, we're not.
It's just a little different.
It is.
All right. So the big stories of the night, the big stories that we've talked so far. College World Series, Game 3 tonight, 6 o'clock. Make sure you have the app downloaded so you can listen to it right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's a lot better than listening to Carl Ravitch.
Oh, Lord. That was brutal on Saturday. I was just happy yesterday that he wasn't on it. I guess he was doing Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he's flying back to Omaha.
He's a cure for insomnia, I'll tell you that. Good Lord Almighty.
He's flying back to Omaha. He put it on Twitter that he's flying back to Omaha. So you'll get him for Game 3.
I'm sure what storylines he'll have. Should Skeens be in here? Should he? Should he? Should he? That's all he's going to have. How many pitches? What about it, guy?
Chad, you missed. Carl Ravitch is not coming over for dinner.
No, I mean, he's the only guy to call the top of the inning, walk-off home run. So, I mean, that in itself should show you something right there.
Did he get it? Did he get it? Did he get it? He did! We played that, and then we played the LSU.
I know you guys probably talked about it, but that was
10
awful.
times better. I mean, we found that. We're like, good Lord.
I do like him in baseball, though. I don't like him in football.
He's not a bad host. Like, if you put him in the studio, he's not a bad host. It's just like Chris Berman. But he and Chris Berman should be as far away from play-by-play as anybody has ever been, because neither one of them is worth a tinker's damn at it. I mean,
I do like Carl in baseball, but football, not so much. When they moved him over to football and he started doing some college football games, I was like, I wasn't big on it.
I mean, I've heard Berman do baseball, football, all of it. He's bad at all of it. Now, he's one of the great studio hosts ever.
NFL.
Home run calls are
anything.
great. He was doing the home run.
Berman could host anything in a studio.
Yes.
He is one of the best ever, but they just tried to – it was kind of overkill with it. Now he doesn't do much for ESPN at all because he's semi-retired.
He does that ESPN on ESPN Plus. He and
the
Jackson,
NFL
Randy
stuff.
Jackson,
Tom Jackson.
They do the NFL. What they used to do for ESPN on the main channel, they do it now on ESPN.
Well, they
Plus.
tried to put Booger McFarland with Berman, and Booger McFarland is terrible too. So they had to wisely pay Tom Jackson a little bit of money to come out of retirement because he and Berman are so good together. Booger McFarland, no, he's just not.
Well, speaking of ESPN, coming up in hour 2, we're going to hear from Kirk Herbstreit. We're going to hear from him as we've talked some college football. He had some interesting comments on the Pat McAfee show earlier this week, which we have not had a chance to get to, so we will hear from Kirk Herbstreit. Plus, we got to break down what's coming up in Omaha tonight. LSU, Florida. We already know the SEC is going to inch closer to the Pac-12 for the most, 100 degrees on Friday.
Is it? Oh, wow. You know what that means? It means it'll be 105 in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, wow. I just looked at that. 99 degrees on Thursday, 100 on Friday, 98 on Saturday.
With at least a chance of rain, but Lord.
Wow, we're going to be cooking.
That July 4th weekend, extended weekend, man, people are going to be baking.
Well, yeah. Careful how you say that. We were in Oregon or Colorado, there'd be, look!
Indiana Arthur!
There he is! All right.
You missed it, Chad. Indiana Arthur.
We got to get a break in. We're going to bring this show, we're going to reel it back in. We're going to talk some College World Series with John Frary coming up next to kick off hour number 2. We're going to hear from Kirk Herbstreit in hour number 2. We're going to talk some college basketball with Jimmy Stein in hour number 2. We got a lot to get to.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sign up for the VSiN Daily Newsletter to keep you up with the day's biggest sports betting news and insights. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Florida Gators pound LSU 24-4, setting a College World Series record with 24 runs, enforcing a Game 3 of the best-of-3 championship series today in Omaha, Nebraska. LSU opens as a $1.40 favorite, Florida plus 110, 9 flat the total, 54% of the money on Florida to win the game and the national title today. Track where all the money is flowing for every game on the board. Betting splits available at VSIN.com. Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves today. A minus 205 favorite at home at Minnesota, plus 175, 8.5 under the total. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN. The
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday, highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There we go. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Hour one. We talked Alabama basketball. Javon Quinterly putting his name in the transfer portal. We talked a little Major League Baseball, plus we talked the College World Series. We backtracked to Saturday, which was a fantastic ball game. It lived up to the College World Series that we had seen up to that point, which was one-run entertaining ball games. Then yesterday, Florida just come out and just dominated it 24-4. That sets up a winner-take-all. Everybody hands on deck game 3 for LSU in Florida tonight, 6 o'clock right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Yeah, and as we said earlier in the show in the first hour, they're going to be I wouldn't. There's a couple guys for Florida, that I wouldn't expect, including Hurston Waldrop. He started yesterday. I wouldn't expect him to be on the bump for the Gators because I know he didn't throw a ton of pitches, but he threw around 70 pitches. I still don't think they would bring him back that quickly, and he wasn't effective for really the first time in a while. So I wouldn't expect him to be back, and of course I wouldn't expect Brandon Sprode either. But as you said, everybody else all hands on deck, and we're going to talk about it with WFOY's the lead guy. He does a great job with his show in St. Augustine, Florida. And, of course, he's joined us on many occasions to talk Gators, and that's John Frary, and he's with us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. John, welcome back to Huntsville. You're Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, Drew and Scott. Great to be back with you. And who would have thought 3 weeks from SEC Media Days, all Gator Nation's talking about is baseball right now. That's very unusual, but you just led into it perfectly, Drew, as far as the national championship game tonight. And I agree with you. I don't think Hurston Waldrop will be available tonight. Now, you never know. If it goes 10, 11, 12 innings, they might have to throw him in there, but I don't think that's part of Sully's plan up front. But Florida goes into this game tonight, guys, in great position because they were able to preserve a lot of their key guys for bullpen tonight. Neely didn't have to pitch yesterday. Ryan Slater, Abner didn't have to come out of the bullpen. I guess when you have a 20-run lead in the ninth inning, you don't need your closer to come on the mound. What a bizarre day yesterday was for Gator Nation.
Well, and it's kind of been that type of season, though, for Florida, right? I mean, on Saturday, they have a season-high 20 strikeouts, uncharacteristic of them, and then they come out the next day and bam. I mean, the ball is as big as a grapefruit. And I mean, it just seems like they were hitting everything. But that's been kind of the season, though, right? I mean, peaks and valleys for this team.
It's been resiliency, that's for sure. You're right, because they had to fight their way out of the losers bracket in the regionals, for those that forgot. and they just annihilated the competition from there like they did LSU yesterday. But then there are droughts where Langford, Caglione, the big hitters in the top of the lineup, can't get a hit. And then there are other times where they're hitting everything out of the park. I think the ball was the size of a grapefruit for all of Florida's hitters yesterday, guys. It was just amazing. And if they do win tonight, this puts Kevin O'Sullivan on another tier as a baseball manager. I know baseball is not as significant as football and basketball in Florida, and it will never be. I mean, and that's nothing against baseball. But having said that, Kevin O'Sullivan has been at the University of Florida. This is 16 seasons now.
Wow, it's hard to believe, yeah.
I'm not going to count 2020 because that was COVID. But if you count the 15 seasons, they were eligible to go to the World Series. They've been there 8 out of 15 times. This is their third finals, and this would be his second national title if they win tonight, as well as the school. The school never won a national title before Kevin O'Sullivan. So where I'm going with all this is he's got to be put up there on the pyramid of greatest Gator coaches ever. Now, he's not going to be ahead of Steve Spurrier. He's not going to be above Billy Donovan. But do I dare say, because of all the stuff one Urban Meyer's done away from the game and the way he left Florida, he's going to be ahead of Urban Meyer as far as Gator hearts. There's no question in my mind about that. And Kevin O'Sullivan's only 54 years old, guys. So if they do go on to win tonight, I don't necessarily think this is his last time because, as I said, 8 out of 15 times he's taken this team to the World Series. So that's over 50% of the time.
You mentioned
to the World Series with him managing. It's unbelievable.
You mentioned he'd be ahead of Urban Meyer. Where would he be compared to Billy Donovan?
I still think he would be a notch below. It would be close, but I just think that basketball is just slightly more popular than baseball at Florida. And what Billy did as far as the Final Fours, now they'd have the same amount of national championships. Billy had 2. Kevin O'Sullivan would have 2 if they win tonight. And, of course, the difference being Kevin O'Sullivan still got more to go, as I just said. So he may eventually surpass Billy, but I think right now, even with a win, I would still have Donovan second. But Kevin O'Sullivan's closing. There's no question about that, guys. And I don't think he's going anywhere either, by the way, unlike Coach Donovan, who we knew had flirted with the NBA on and off during his whole tenure at Florida and eventually left. Steve Spurrier left after 12 years. Meyer left. The one difference is I think Kevin O'Sullivan's a lifer at Florida. They've got a brand-new baseball stadium, 3 years old.
That he got built,
They've got great facilities. I just can't imagine him going anywhere else. I mean, I could be naive. He might take an offer somewhere, but I think he's pretty content. He's got this program built. And do I dare say it's kind of the baseball version, in a way, recruiting-wise, of what Kirby and Nick Saban are doing in college football, the way he's bringing in top-notch recruits. And he even got somebody from Alabama in the transfer portal that you guys are probably familiar with in baseball. I believe he had 25 home runs this year.
Yeah, Colby Shelton.
Over.
Yep, he did.
So he's got it rolling. I mean, I just don't see him going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, I mean, I think he flirted with Texas and LSU, but Florida's administration gave him what he wanted. Certainly, he's being paid very well, $1.2 million, I think, and then he got the ballpark built that he wanted. Certainly, you said it's 3 years old, but without O'Sullivan's consistency and all those trips to Omaha, that doesn't happen. And so they've committed fully to the sport. I'm sure NIL, because of Colby Shelton and some of these guys. He got Herson Waldrop from Southern Miss last year. Let's put it this way: the program is fully funded. And so he doesn't want for anything. And so, if they win this championship, you're right. He starts joining the classes of the all-time great college baseball coaches and in the SEC. Right now, to me, it's still Skip. I mean, because he won 5 of them. But, I mean, look what he's done. And it's become even harder to do if he pulls this off because, look, as great as he's been, They've had some trouble in the regionals the last few years, and this is the first trip since 2018. But what I've liked about hearing from O'Sullivan is he is enjoying the ride. He said, there was a tendency at times to take it for granted when we were going so many years. This is the first time since 18. And so I think he's enjoyed the ride with this group. And I'm sticking with it. I picked him to win it before the tournament started. I was very impressed with them when I saw them in Hoover in the middle of their lineup. Certainly, both teams have got some pitching lined up today. But I think, with Wyatt Langford busting out yesterday and we saw Caglione kind of get it going, the middle of that lineup is so good for Florida, and I like the Gators tonight.
And don't forget Ty Evans.
Oh, yeah, he's been we talked about him, 5 home runs. That's tying the all-time record, John.
A young man that really had great potential. We knew that at Florida, but had 4 home runs during the entire season and 4 in the World Series. And the Grand Slam yesterday
was crazy, yeah.
It was gigantic because I'll be honest, Drew, I didn't think we were going to be having this conversation in the 3rd inning yesterday when LSU got out in front, and it was 3-1, and they had the bases loaded 2 innings in a row early. I felt like if they had gotten a key hit in either one of those innings, it might have been a different conversation because you know how sports is. It's a game of momentum.
It
Baseball,
is.
Whatever game it is, football. But when they couldn't knock Florida out, Ty Evans, that young man, just delivered. And if Florida does go on to win this tonight, I don't care what he does the rest of his career, he's got to go down in Gator lore because he's a big reason why they're going to win this national title if they pull this off tonight.
Yeah, and then
Jack Caglione, though.
Yeah.
So,
is he going to start tonight, John?
Yeah, we're going to see him on the mound. This is the what Major League Baseball equivalent to, not even on the same level, but a Shohei Ohtani because he can hit, he can pitch, he can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
To answer Drew's question, we are going to see him on the mound tonight, I believe, for starters. Now, because it's an all-or-everything game, guys, he's probably going to be on a short leash, meaning if he's, wild, because Cags has been hit or miss pitching-wise, too, meaning that early on he tends to be a little wild in some games, and obviously this is a game where you can't give him 3, 4, 5 innings to settle in. So, but I do believe he will start. Then I believe if he struggles, it's going to be a bullpen game, meaning you're going to see Slater, you're going to see Abner. It's basically going to be all hands on deck tonight. And, of course, they're in great position. If they can get to the 7th and 8th inning with the lead, the fact that Brandon Neely didn't even have to pitch yesterday, as I said earlier, gives Florida a very good advantage. Now, the intriguing part of this game, to me, guys, is going to be Skeens and LSU because he threw 120 pitches on Thursday night for LSU. He's on 3 days rest. I don't think there's any way he's starting tonight, but if it gets late in the game and it's a one-run game, I would not be surprised if Jay Johnson throws him out there in the 8th inning. We shall see, but that's going to be the joker in the deck tonight, I think, in this ball game to see what happens. But Florida, I think, the one thing about them, they're streaky. And as Scott brought up earlier, you're hoping they carry that momentum from the Florida's perspective forward, meaning the bats woke up yesterday. And if they could get off to a 3-4 run lead, it's a totally different ball game. So we'll see early if Florida can continue hitting the ball out of the park. And, of course, the other thing about that ballpark out there, guys, from what I've been told, I've never been there personally.
Yeah.
Depends on the wind.
Yesterday,
the wind was blowing out. It was a hitter's ballpark. Now, if the wind's blowing in tonight, it might be a low-scoring game. That's the other thing. I don't know what the elements are tonight out there, so that's going to be an intriguing factor, too.
Yeah, it will be because, they even made the statement that when Florida, held on to get the one-run victory and eliminate Wake Forest and not Wake Forest. I'm sorry. When they eliminated TCU. Pardon me. Yep. When they eliminated Texas Christian, if the ball would have been a 470-foot bomb off of their number 3 hole hitter's bat if the wind had been blowing out against TCU, because Robertson got a great jump on it and brought it in against the wall, and I think it was hit like 406 feet, 408 feet. But it would have been way out of here if the wind had been blowing out, and it would have tied the game. But that's just, as you said, John, that's the fate of baseball. But that's how they were able to hold on against TCU and get that big win. But it's a game of inches, because Wyatt Langford, we already talked about earlier in the show, I thought he had ended the game the other night and the Gators were going to win. But Pearson made a great leaping catch in left field. But what it did foreshadow was that Langford was about to start hitting the baseball, and he certainly wore it out yesterday, 5 for 5.
He did indeed, and he's got 2 mammoth home runs in this World Series. In fact, you go back to the first game, guys, Florida played in the World Series. For those that forgot, because it seems like it was a month ago now,
yeah,
they were losing in the 9th inning to Virginia.
Yeah, they were. I was watching that game on the road. It was 4-1. I thought the Gators were about to lose that game. I was like, man, they were my pick. Yeah. They're going to go and lose back. And then I saw them running out of the dugout celebrating. I was like, what just happened?
And again, Ty Evans had a home run.
Yep.
Langford had a 2-run home run that I think is still orbiting the moon as we speak.
Right.
And so it's been a phenomenal run for this team. The one thing about this Florida team, if you're the opponent, you can never relax, meaning even if you've got a 2 or 3 run lead. Now, if you have a 20-run lead, which was what yesterday, I guess you could relax. But in a normal situation, even in the 9th inning, as you just mentioned, Drew, I mean, losing by 3 runs, normally that's it, but they just never give up. They've had a tendency to make these comebacks all year, and when their backs are against the wall, they have delivered all season long. And you brought up Robertson. If Florida has a lead late, expect to see him out in center field playing defense as well. Kevin O'Sullivan will have him out there in the 8th or 9th inning if Florida's ahead.
Oh, there's no question. He will definitely be out there. And, John, I was just going to get a quick comment from you about Florida recruiting, because we Scott and I have been talking about it. They did lose Austin Simmons to Ole Miss, which was really kind of a weird situation because he was going to reclassify 2 classes. I know Florida had been working on that. But sans quarterback, recruiting has been going really, really well for Billy Napier and crew.
That was one of the most bizarre weekends, Drew, in recruiting ever, because you mentioned Austin Simmons, and that news came out first, that he reclassified and then decommitted and went to Mississippi. And it was like the wind was taken out of the Gators' sails in Gators Nation, but then you had a slew of commitments, Jamonte Waller being one of them, 6, as a matter of fact, that all of a sudden jumped Florida up into the top 5 in the 24/7 rankings. Now, while that's not everything, that's a lot from where Florida's been for a while, meaning we know the Dan Mullen era. We don't need to go back into that.
Yeah,
Florida, do I dare say Jamonte Waller wouldn't have even given Florida a sniff back in the Dan Mullen era? Wouldn't have even happened. Or some of these other guys, Amarius Williams. And you're right, the one conundrum for Billy Napier since he's been at Florida so far has been the quarterback situation, meaning he's had some bad luck. He's had some other issues. DJ Lagway is vital to this class coming in, and I think the young man is going to be here. And I think that, by the way, had something to do with Austin Simmons' decision. Now, I don't know that, Drew. That's just a gut. But I think the fact that DJ Waller has been the lead piper to bring a lot of these other kids in this class that on paper looks awfully good right now for 2024. I think Austin Simmons might have felt, I come in this year, maybe I get my feet wet, but then all of a sudden DJ Lagway comes in and I'm not going to see the field again. Now, I don't know that, but because that was a weird situation. And the other strange thing about that, guys, is that it came out that they didn't like the schedule Florida was going to have in 2024. That was part of the decision-making for Austin Simmons and his family. Well, I got a news flash for them. Mississippi's in the same conference, so I don't really understand that, if that was part of the logic. So who knows, but Billy Napier's got it going in the right direction, guys. And, even do I dare say, and hopefully they don't, but if Florida were to have a 5-7 or 4-8 season, because Athlon picked Florida to be 5-7 in the preseason magazine, honestly, you want to win, but it's not going to matter in the long term for fans out there listening to Florida, because Billy Napier's not going anywhere as long as these guys are lined up and they're coming in the next year with Lagway. I think the enthusiasm will be through the roof. Now, obviously, you'd like to get a 7-5 or 8-4 this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think regardless of this season, because of the quarterback situation with Graham Mertz and where Florida is for this year, I still think moving forward, it's looking really good. I think this is going to be the last year we're going to have this type of conversation, guys, the way Napier's getting in on these recruits now moving forward.
Well, great stuff, John. Enjoy the game tonight. The Gators going for Kevin O'Sullivan's second national championship and first since 2017 when he beat LSU. But I'm sure Gator Nation, it's going to be fun tonight. Let everybody know how to connect with you and your show.
They can connect with me on Twitter at JF_SportsNow and my show at 1021news.com or 102.1 or 1240 WFOI in St. Augustine. 4 to 6 on Tuesdays, 4 to 5 the rest of the week. And as always, guys, great to be with you. And 21 days from today, we'll get to hear Brian Kelly open up SEC Media Days in Nashville. So it even gets better.
It
Here
really
we
will.
go.
Well, look forward to seeing you, man. Thanks.
All right, thank you, guys.
Let's get a break in. We'll talk college football. We'll hear from Kirk Herbstreit next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Since 1998, Scooter's Coffee has delivered high-quality drinks with quick service and a big smile. And the folks at Scooter's Coffee know a great cup of coffee or other drink can bring a smile to just about anyone. Yes, we specialize in great coffee, but Scooters also has smoothies, teas, and delicious food items too. And this week, Scooters is our zone deal. Right now, get $50 worth of Scooters in Huntsville for just $25 online at 977ESPN.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Heary, heary! If you want freedom and independence from those high temperatures and those high utility bills, there's only one place to give a ring to, and that is Talent Heating and Air. Thomas with us from Talent Heating and Air. And Thomas, you've got the independence and the declaration to give customers those breaks.
That's right. We're offering free second opinions and service calls starting at $17.76.
$17.76 for those service calls. And there's only one phone number to call, and that is
256-503-4490.
It's Talent Heating and Air. You can also find them online at
talenthvac.com.
That's Talent Heating and Air, giving you the independence and freedom on this 4th of July from those high temperatures and high utility bills.
Depression and anxiety affect almost 20% of Americans each year. At Integrated Behavioral Health, our mission is to provide patient-centered, high-quality mental health services in a caring and compassionate setting.
IBH staff is wonderfully compassionate and friendly. They help me through a lot of my issues. I love this place.
If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, or other mental health disorders, make your appointment today. Call 855-422-1618. Integrated Behavioral Health in Madison and Decatur.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunners Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunners Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunners Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunners Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunners Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
Scott Research Park southbound near Old Madison Pike. That one is being reported as an injury type. Had a couple of wrecks earlier, but they now appear to be cleared out of the way. Looks like we're getting one in northbound on Parkway near Hobbs Road. No injury reported on that one. Snelling has direct hire positions for experienced payroll accountant and a staff accountant. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 8:26. What day is it? Monday morning.
Yep. Well, hell, I can't even remember TCU just a few minutes ago, so everything happens.
Yeah.
You get Wake Forest and TCU crossed up. But, yeah, the Gators put out TCU. Braden Taylor flew out to the base of the wall. Now we've got a deciding game after LSU. And don't forget, baseball is such a funny game.
It is.
Because LSU had lost to Wake 3-2, was trailing them 2-0 before they scored 5 unanswered runs to win 5-2 and force that deciding game with Wake Forest and then win it and move on. And then yesterday, like John said, John Ferry, it was 3-1. It looked like to me LSU was about to run away with it. Then they leave the bases loaded, and then you come back in the next inning, and Florida ties it at 3, and then it looks like they're going to get a double play. Jordan Thompson boots it. You talked about that, Scott. And then here comes Ty Evans, and he hits the ball out of the ballpark, and the Gators are rolling.
All right, college football news and notes. We briefly touched about it, and we'll hear more about it as the week goes on. But Trent Dilfer calling out those that want to come after the roster, and we'll hear from Trent probably tomorrow. But Kirk Herbstreit was talking about the season, and we have kind of alluded to it. In what I believe in 61 days, we get the start of the college football season, and we talked about it. We will be in Nashville in 4 weeks to kick off SEC Media Days. Here's Kirk Herbstreit about the new year.
I think that this is going to be a fascinating time as we sit here and talk next June, getting ready for the 24 season. How many teams are going to be in the SEC? How many teams are going to be in the Big Ten? What's left of the ACC? What's left? Is the Big 12 taking the Pac-12? Is the Pac-12 now the Mountain West? What's left of it? So we're going to have so many more answers that I find it interesting. It makes us all look to 24. So that's what I mean when I say blame duck. It's not just that, we're going to 12 teams for the playoff. It's a lot more than that.
Got it.
And we'll see. But this is still going to be a great year in college football. Every year is a great year in college football.
But those storylines that start creeping in, like you said, team coming out of nowhere. TCU coming out of nowhere was insane. First year as a head coach. And now the storyline, seemingly the big one takeaway is Kirby Smart, John Cena to The Rock, Nick Saban? Is your time is up, my time is now? Is that a whole part of this entire conversation? Like Saban's not going to go.
You got to be a step ahead of everything in this world, right? Be really careful of listening to David Pollack said it's a new That's right when Alabama comes back and just throws their trump card down and whips everyone's. I haven't even really dug in. I'm already leaning to Alabama to win the national championship. When you say Nick's done, Alabama's done, Kirby goodbye. Here comes Alabama. They're going to win it all. So if I'm betting right now, I don't even know what it says in Vegas. I'm betting Alabama to win the national championship.
I would take.
And I'm betting David Pollock to sell his autograph on eBay. Because he's a narcissistic prick.
But is Kurt right, though, in one instance that, and you alluded to it, and you said something about this about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the schedules coming out for 24 and who's going to play who in 24, and this schedule here is tough in 2024, that we're almost glossing over the fact that we've got to play the 2023 college football season.
Yeah, I've said that. I mean, remember the stance I took a couple weeks ago when we were at our great sponsor, Bill Penny Toyota.
Yes.
Everybody was you were asking me about the 2024
because the schedules were coming out
and
that night.
I was like, what? Good, great, whatever. I haven't even been paying attention to that. I'm worried about the 2023 season. Everybody's, here comes OU, here comes Texas, la-di-da. They'll be here next year. They're not here this year. Worry about this season. It's like when people ask me about the 2024 recruiting class. How come Alabama doesn't have more commitments in that class? Who cares? Because they don't sign until December of 2024. It's a long time. Worry about the 23 class, which will be the 24 class now. But at the time, and I guess what I'm saying is now it'll be worry about the 24 class when the 25 is coming up. But this was last year when Alabama was trying to, polish off the 23 class. Everybody's asking about 24. Well, worry about 23. Now you worry about 24, and then 25 will they'll have that. And they do have a couple of great pieces. Ryan Williams is a great player in the 25 class. He says he's locked in. But again, could he reclassify? We'll see. But you don't know until they sign.
Right. But you got to take it one step at a time. You got to go this year.
Just worry about the 24 class. I worry about the class one class at a time. I don't give a rat's rip about something in the future.
And that's how we should approach the season.
Yeah,
worry
exactly.
About the 23
worry about
season.
the 23 season, about this quarterback battle. Who's going to be the quarterback? Stop worrying about 24 and, who are you playing? Who's your schedule going to be? Who cares? We know what the 23 schedule is, okay? It doesn't matter. Worry about the 23 season and then worry about 24. You know what I'm saying? But, of course, Georgia's already claiming 10 national championships in a row, and they're never going to lose another game if you talk to them. It took them, 40 years to win one, and they've won it back-to-back, and now they're the greatest program in the history of mankind. Nick Saban's scared of them and all that other stuff. Stuff it. He's coming back. He's not. Georgia is the best program right now. Anybody that tells you different is crazy. You have to say they are. They're the back-to-back champs.
Yep.
But there's going to be people gunning for them. Clemson couldn't stay on top. We'll see if Georgia can. Maybe Kirby can. Maybe he's got the secret sauce. It took him a while to get it there, but he's got it. And right now, he's the dude, and we'll see if he can stay on top of the mountain. He's king of the ring, whatever you want to call it, if you want to use a wrestling term right now. But
king of the ring. That was a movie, too, by the way.
Yeah, but can he stay there? We'll see. Yeah. But right now, Georgia is the king. There is no question about that. And anybody that says different is not, being honest with you.
All right. Jimmy Stein's going to be honest with us next. We got to get a break in. We'll talk Alabama recruiting for 23 and 24.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
There are those among us when disaster strikes and seconds count, they rush in. Where would Huntsville and America be without them? They're our military and our first responders, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we salute them. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where all military personnel and all first responders get an extra $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all other offers. This offer is good through July 5th and can include an extra $1,000 bonus cash on 2023 F-150 and Bronco Sport, $1,500 cash back on 23 Edge, and $2,000 cash back on 23 Explorers. These offers are available for everyone with good credit through Ford Motor Credit, but military and first responders get an additional $1,000 appreciation cash. Our way of saying thank you for having our back. Woody Anderson Ford, over 60 years of serving those that serve us. Hope to see you soon.
Got one accident working. This one is southbound on Research Park near Old Madison Pike. That one is reported as an injury type. Everything else looks good. We got some folks in last-minute dash mode this morning, so it's not going to be a totally easy ride the rest of the way in. You be careful. Put some extra room in there if you can. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
New coordinators.
That's as good as money, sir.
New quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Same coach.
All right, and you all may be taking the week off, all right, this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you, hanging out. And we were talking about the 23 football season that blended into the getting asked about the 25 recruiting class cycle, and got to focus one recruiting class at a time. And that's kind of where we turn our attention to coming out of the break.
Yeah, no doubt. And football recruiting it never stops, and certainly. But the interesting story broke late last night about Javon Quinterly. We kind of let off the show with that, and we're going to get the thoughts about that and about some football recruiting and what's going on with one of the recruiting insiders and football analyst for BamaOnline.com, who is now part of On3Sports.com. That's Jimmy Stein, who's always been very kind to us. And he was even being already mentioned by our good buddy Brandon, who was, I know they were tweeting at each other yesterday. But it's always great to catch up with Jimmy, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline with us. Jimmy, good morning.
Hey, appreciate you having me back on the show, Drew.
Yeah, no problem, man. I know Brandon's already trying to get you to Tampa as well. And that'll be a very interesting road trip, by the way. Certainly their program is rebuilding, let's say, but still an interesting road trip for the Tide. And I think a strategic one. Nick Saban, they just got Keon Keeley out of there. They're recruiting quite a bit down in the Tampa area and in the Florida area. It's been very kind to Alabama. So Nick Saban always kind of trying to keep that Alabama brand in mind for people. So they'll be, of course, going to visit the South Florida Bulls. But a very interesting development. We heard some rumbling and some rumors about it a few weeks ago before he announced on Twitter he was coming back to Alabama. But Javon Quinterly ultimately deciding kind of late in the game to graduate transfer and move on. your thoughts on JQ moving on after 4 years at Alabama?
Yeah, the timing. I mean, it's not just his departure. I think the timing is sort of unfortunate because in terms of replacing him, the pool is small. The only players that can enter the portal at this point are graduate transfers, and as we know, those college basketball fans certainly realize by now the number of seniors who stick around who are quality players. I mean, there are very few. I mean, the best guard in the portal right now is Javon Quinterly. I mean, that's just a fact. So the timing of it is a little unfortunate. It's just a new era in college basketball. I think I'm starting to call it the roster management era.
Really, yeah.
Where really it's the number one priority of the program. It has, it used to be recruiting as a number one priority. Now I'd call it roster management, which encompasses all of it, including recruiting. But you also have to constantly recruit your own roster, or at least the ones you want to stay. So it's unfortunate, but it doesn't mean it's the end for Alabama basketball this season at all. They've already Nate Oates has already landed 2 quality guards out of the portal, and Aaron Estrada from Hofstra, Latrell Wrightsell from Cal State Fullerton. They're going to play minutes at point guard, both really good players. And, of course, Mark Sears returns, who's been a point guard for his most of his college career, played a lot at the 2 last year for Alabama, but that doesn't mean he can't play the point. I'm sure, in fact, he probably prefers it. I'm guessing without knowing, Drew, but I would think when Mark Sears went through the NBA draft process, he was told repeatedly, if there is a spot for you in this league, it's playing point guard. So that's I'm sure Mark Sears would like to focus on that position in his final season in Tuscaloosa this year.
And you look at that, and you mentioned roster management. So in your eyes, Javon Quinterly exits. Charles Bediako, probably one of the biggest surprises for Nate Oates, but has Nate Oates managed this roster well enough that coming up this year, Bama fans should feel excited about this team?
I would say he's managed it enough barely, and I don't mean that as a shot at Coach Oates.
Right.
What I mean is it didn't fall the way that he planned. He has said that he thought Bediako would return. He's already said that publicly. The timing of JQ's exit 3 weeks after he makes his famous "I'm back" tweet indicates to me that this is also unexpected. But it's the reason that you have to stockpile good players. It's the reason that you went and got Aaron Estrada earlier and Latrell Wrightsell earlier in case something like this happens. Now, hopefully, Alabama's in the process of trying to add at least one more big guy in Grant Nelson from North Dakota State. Alabama continues to work that. And I think if you add Grant Nelson, you can go into this season with 10 or 11 guys. The good news is all 10 or 11 apparently can play, all of them. So you probably have enough players, you have enough depth, you have enough good players. But it's a blow. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no, hey, this is a good thing this happened. That's not true at all. JQ's a real high-quality player. Not everybody in the league had an SEC tournament MVP. And frankly, other than the final game up in Louisville, JQ once again was outstanding throughout the postseason for Alabama. He seems to play his best in the biggest games, and that's what Alabama will miss the most.
Yeah, no doubt. And I do think that the coaching staff was frustrated by it. They'd have to be. As you said, it was late in the game, Jimmy, but I think they've also know you have to pivot, you have to be ready, and they're still exploring all options. I think they're still seeing what graduate bigs are out there, what guards are out there. I know John Rothstein just tweeted out that Alabama was interested and has reached out to Joe Toussaint, who is a former Iowa Hawkeye and West Virginia Mountaineer. He's visiting K-State, then Texas Tech. But again, they're going to continue to be aggressive because, remember, they added Dom Welch late last year. So the July summer term has not started. So this is still a roster under construction.
That's right. They'll continue to not only scour the portal, but, it's just a smaller pool of players than it would have been in the earlier portal windows. And that's the issue. I think if they're able to land Grant Nelson, who of course is a big and he's not a guard like JQ, but if you land Grant Nelson, you fill the hole left by Bediako, and then the question becomes, well, what do you do about the hole left by JQ? They probably have answers on the team. I mean, in terms of guys that can play the point and play it well, assuming Aaron Estrada and Latrell Wrightsville make easy adjustments or don't have a difficult time adjusting to play in the SEC from where they came from, which was obviously much smaller, less powerful conferences. So let's see how they handle the transition. You also have Sears, you have Rylan Griffin in the backcourt, not a point guard, but a good scorer that could pick up some of the scoring slack that's left by JQ's departure.
Well, and Jimmy, I'm going to ask you this because you guys have a great staff over there, and certainly I get people tweeting at me, DMing me, asking me about recruiting. I think Alabama's taking a methodical approach to this 2024 class. I know they had a huge weekend this weekend, the annual cookout. Julian Sand came back in to help them recruit. He looks like the leader in the of this class, one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the country, along with Dylan Raiola. He won the Elite 11. How would you categorize it? You followed Alabama recruiting for a long time. Where is this class currently right now?
Well, there's not a ton of commitments. The commitments that are there, the ones that have been public, the 8 guys that have already committed, really good players. That's why the On3 industry ranking has Alabama 4th right now, which is pretty impressive considering they have only 8 guys. But for those concerned that, wow, look, we're only 8. Several other elite programs have more. Alabama actually has more commitments today than they had 1 year ago when they ultimately put together the number 1 recruiting class in the country. So in terms of where they stand with commitments in terms of quality and quantity, it's really good. You just have to add quality and numbers from this point forward. And that's what they've done in June in terms of putting it on a tee. In July and August is when you have to start hitting the ball, and the ball just not being on the tee. That's what happened last year. Alabama got a ton of commitments in July and August from a lot of big names. They were kids who had visited in June, and that's what Alabama did. Just about every weekend throughout June, they had 8 to 10 kids in every weekend that were high priority targets for them. And this past weekend, absolutely no exception, one of the best weekends of the month in terms of the quality that was there. It had 10 guys in, I think, and gosh, you're talking about some of the best players in the country at multiple positions. It went really well. Like you pointed out, Julian Sand from California, who was there unofficially, along with a lot of other kids, you have to really appreciate that not only is he a top 2 quarterback in the nation, he's made multiple trips to Tuscaloosa in 2023 on his own dime. These unofficial trips, not easy to make from California, but he's taken a big part in helping put together this class. He wants to be, the leader of this group, and by making the effort to get here from California repeatedly on his own dime, you have to really appreciate, what he's doing for the program. And of course, he's had an incredible year on the field himself, winning MVP at Elite 11 and trying to and proving to a lot of people in the industry he may be the number 1 quarterback nationally in this class.
Mm-hmm, no question. He's a big-time talent. But great stuff, Jimmy. You guys are doing a great job at BamaOnline.com, now part of On3Sports.com. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys.
Sure. BOL, BamaOnline.com, part of the On3 network. We have a 7-man staff, and the guys that really head up recruiting, it's not just myself at all. Andrew Bone, Joseph Hastings, Tim Watt's been doing it a long time. We have the best staff out there in terms of just covering recruiting. The amount of coverage and content from this past weekend, it's just jaw-dropping. I'm on the team, and I can't wait to read it myself.
It's outstanding. Great stuff, great intel and thoughts on Javon Quinterly and the Alabama basketball roster ever evolving. And then, of course, the recruiting come from this weekend. And we'll see what dominoes fall after this cookout and some more commitments are soon to be made public. Thanks, Jimmy. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Drew and Scott.
Thanks. Let's get that final break in here. Tomorrow's headlines will wrap us all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Zone Indoor Cycling is this week's Zone deal. Get a $100 certificate for just $50. Get yours now at 977ESPN.com. $2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Got one new accident. This one's on Patterson Lane at Jack Thomas. No injury. Southbound on Research Park at Old Madison Pike. That one did have an injury involved. Should be about ready to wrap it up. Could be gone already. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch, Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
2-2 again. Ground ball to third. Riley to second for one. Ozzie to first. Braves win! 5-4-3. A game-ending double play. And Atlanta takes the series. What an exciting series in Cincinnati. And the Braves cool down the Reds. Another one-run win. And it's the only double play turn by the Braves in the series. And it punctuates things here in the ninth inning. What a ball game. 5-4-3, and the Braves silence the Reds. Man, what a game and what a series. For the Reds in the ninth, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and a man left. Final score, Braves 7, Reds 6. Atlanta takes the series.
That was quite a series, Scott. I mean, every game, one-run game. Now, it wasn't a great, well-pitched series, really. It was more offensive, especially to that ballpark. But 11-10, the Reds win on Friday, and then the Braves win back-to-back 7-6 games and take the series from what was a red-hot Cincinnati Reds ball club coming in.
So now the Braves join the Tampa Bay Rays as the only team in the majors at 50 wins. So the Rays are 54-27. They have the best record in all of baseball. Braves are right there, 50 and 27.
Tell me the Mutts record again.
You want to know the Mutts?
Yeah, what's the Mutts record?
35 and 42.
Well,
I was joking over the weekend, said, they're close to the Nationals. They keep getting closer and closer to the Nationals. The Nationals are 30 and 47.
May they pass the Nationals into the cellar.
The Mets are 35 and 42. The Mets are 4 and 6 in their last 10.
Nice.
The Braves have a 107 plus 107 run differential. That is second to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays have a run differential of plus 150 on the season right now. But the Atlanta Braves, by the way, are the best road team in all of the majors. Atlanta is 26 and 12 away from Truist Park. They're 24 and 15 at home.
Well, I wish you could. I heard on ESPN radio last night. I wish you could replay the just unbelievably delicious meltdown in the ninth inning by the Mets bullpen to completely blow that game against the Phillies. They gave up one hit and somehow lost it. And
they gave up 4 runs.
They gave up 4 runs. They were up 6-3, and they lost 7-6. And it was awesome listening to the Mutts broadcast team, who one of my followers told me was the best in baseball because he's a Met fan, of course.
Off suspension.
Here we go.
He's about to go with 7 relievers rather than 8 the last 10 games. As Harper takes a walk to start the 8th.
Oh boy, leadoff walks always are ominous.
That's pretty open-ended there. That's lined into left field and ran.
Oh,
love it.
The point of the moral of the story is the Mutts lost.
And they suck.
And they do.
Right now, maximum suckage for the Mets.
Oh, we're going to do it again tomorrow morning. We promise we won't have that.
No.
Hey, the Birmingham Stallions, by the way, in case you missed it.
Who? I heard they're going back to the championship game to play some team with a losing record. In the worst football you could possibly watch.
We got to get a 24-hour recess in. When we come back, we'll be back
at it. I think it's the Pittsburgh Maulers. Is that who they're playing?
Is that who they're playing, Chad?
There it is.
There you go. With the Czar out this week.
For his 69th vacation.
There's your USFL update.
The Atlanta Braves are rolling, and this loaded roster's on a mission to bring home their 6th straight division crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to left center field. Go ball. Back to the wall. Jokes. That ball is gone. Home run, Ozzie.
Tonight, the Braves are back in town, and Truist Park is open for business as Sean Murphy and the Braves take on the Minnesota Twins. Braves Radio goes on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Now that the weather is finally broken, we can get ready for some better golf weather. Coming up this Friday, our Zone Deal features 2 rounds of golf for the price of 1 at Gunner's Landing.
$1,000 you missed that putt.
Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the Zone Deal. Get ready for Friday.